What's bored with feeling? Midterm review. The test is on Learning Suite. You can take it anywhere, 3 hours. Opens at 5 after midnight. Sunday night, closes at minute to midnight, Monday night. Open note, open book, open device. Do your own work. Questions will typically call for citations. Expect some questions to deal with life cycle deliverables. And this one is 5 questions, each worth 25 points. So you ignore that last point. That's exactly what it is. 5 questions. Each one is worth 25 points. The format, I think, for all 5 questions is give 5 X's. Sources, you should know all that. You're welcome to use number 8, so you have it read it. This again, these slides are posted. These are your best cheat sheets. I would suggest you print this out or have this handy electronically or something while you're taking the midterm, because this is your good first order, oh, I need to look up stuff. Answers, cite from one of the sources. Again, you can cite to my lecture slides or even things that I've repeatedly said in class, but if that in turn is simply referring to one of the reading sources, you need to go to the reading sources. You'll get docked if you're just using me as a shortcut to the reading sources. Citation will vary by source. A lot of you have electronic books, so what you need to do is give me enough information so I know exactly what you're talking about. Subhead, brief quote from the section or whatever. Basic score for a brief correct answer and appropriate citation is 80%, 4 out of 5 points. To get a full 5 points, you need some detail that reflects your understanding of the issue. Here's a sample question. So this is what they all look like pretty much. You have some sort of situation and then give 5 answers. These are full credit answers. Don't feel too overwhelmed. Look at number 5. Number 5 there is only 2 brief sentences and a citation. That's a full 5 points. Okay. I do reserve the right, as I think I say later on here, if you give what I consider a real outstanding answer, I may give you an extra point. Put something, okay, you know? Even if it's a wild guess, then wrong, just put something for an answer. It's a start. You get at least 1 point for that, maybe 2 points. If the citation isn't sufficiently specific, it'll be 3 points. If it's a citation with enough detail, this is the 4-point, you know. Here's one of the risks, adding people to late project makes it later. It's Brooks' Law, it's Mythical Man Month, Chapter 2. That's good enough for me. That shows me that you understand what you're talking about, you know where it's at, you know how to find it. For 5 points, this is a longer than usual one. Probably a couple sentences would be sufficient. And I reserve fully the right to make that judgment myself. But generally speaking, if you get at least a couple sentences there and it's actually correct, you're going to get a full 5 points. And that's it. Any questions about the midterm? Yes?
When will we have our grade for it? Like, no,
I will have them all graded by the following Monday.
Perfect.
These are actually fun to grade. I usually, well, for 2 reasons. One, guys, if you've done the work, you'll do well. So, you know, like 80 to 90% of the midterms are going to be A's. The department doesn't like that, but I don't care. The other thing is, as I've said, that for me is the highlight, because I look at this and I grade your midterm and I say, yes, you're ready to go out and work in the workforce. You know this stuff. And when you see it, much as the person who came up to me before class saying, you know, I went for a job interview and I asked him about this and asked him about that, and I'm disturbed about the answers. That's what I want to hear. It's like, I want you to go out there prepared and not be blindsided by what happens. Yes?
So we have 3 hours to take the test, but what do you project the average time spent?
Average time, back when I was able to actually give it in class, I would say 80% of the people finish it in an hour and a half. Probably 90% by 2 to 2.5 hours, and almost everyone. Usually, I remember the first semester I gave it, there were about 3 people who actually were still sitting in class when they hit the 3 hours. Now, back then it was in class and didn't have the time, so I just let them go for that. But generally speaking, particularly if you've got all your notes and your resources in a row, you can probably go through and do it in an hour and a half to 2 hours. And like again, you don't have a final, so this is in effect your final. This is your big test. This is 4th year grade. And standard test taking stuff. If you get stuff, move to the next question. Go through and answer quickly the stuff that you know. Get that down. Get your full credit on that, and then go back, because the truth is, if you're asked for 5 things and you get 4 out of 5, but you get a full 5 points on that, that's still a B for that one question. So don't get hung up on any one particular question or one particular answer on a question. Make a single pass through, get all the stuff that you can do very quickly, and then start making multiple passes and just fill out the stuff that you skipped over the first time. There won't be any class here, there won't be anyone here, so just do this test wherever you're comfortable. Make sure you've got the 3 hours blocked out. You can't start and stop. Once you start, it's 3 hours, that's it. And we'll have I'll be monitoring Slack. I mean, worst comes to worst, just DM me, but as much as possible, I'd like to keep any questions and answers in the midterm channel so that everyone can see that. Any other questions? If not, good luck on midterm. I'll see you in 2 weeks.